All right, this is Proverbs 5 in the New King James Version. It was May 5th, 2023. Technical difficulties. Re-recording on May 6th, 2023. So, new using a web browser. What can we do? Something's up with the program. Something's up with one of my earbuds, so I only have left channel recording clearly for whatever reason. I'm just rebuking these things in Jesus' name, but here we go. My son, pay attention to my wisdom. Lend your ear to my understanding, that you may preserve discretion, and your lips may keep knowledge. For the lips of an immoral woman drip honey, and her mouth is smoother than oil. But in the end, she's as bitter as wormwood, sharp as a two-edged sword. Her feet go down to death, her steps lay hold of hell. Lest you ponder her path of life, her ways are unstable. You do not know them. Therefore hear me now, my children, and do not depart from the words of my mouth. Remove your way far from her, and do not go near the door of her house, lest you give honor to others, your honor to others, and your years to the cruel one, lest aliens be filled with your wealth, and your labors go to a house of a foreigner. And you shall mourn at last when your flesh and your body are consumed, and say, How I've hated instruction, and my heart despised correction. I have not obeyed the voice of my teachers, nor inclined my ear to those who instructed me. I was on the verge of total ruin, in the midst of the assembly and the congregation. Drink water from your cistern, and running water from your own well. Should your fountains be dispersed abroad, streams of water in the streets? Let them be only your own, and not for strangers with you. Let your fountain be blessed, and rejoice with the wife of your youth. As a loving deer and a graceful doe, let her breast satisfy you at all times, and always be enraptured with her love. For why should you, my son, be enraptured by an immoral woman, and be embraced in the arms of a seductress? For the ways of a man are before the eyes of the Lord, and he ponders all his paths. His own iniquities trap the wicked man, and he is caught in the cords of sin. He shall die for lack of instruction. In the greatness of his folly he shall go astray. So, okay, I usually take a different tack on this commentary, but I think it's interesting. I've said before, I watch some things like, I like the Whatever podcast. What you gonna do? They bring all these modern women and let's say 304s and others on the show. Sometimes a counterpoint with a different man, or traditional girls, or modern women with more traditional values, things like that. But it's interesting because, right, like, these girls are some of the most put together women, seemingly, right? They've got all kinds of makeup on, lips blown out, provocative clothing, things like that, right? Ooh, looks nice, right? But it's like, those girls, and it says in here, her ways are unstable. Lest you ponder her path of life, her ways are unstable. You don't know them. Let's just say lots of people have lots of issues, but a lot of those ladies have issues, and you're seeing them worked out. I know I'll probably draw fire from that. What do I know? Psychologist, right? Anyway, I think it's another thing that's practical here, right? So, yeah, she's smooth, she's nice, she smells good, she looks good, she's fun to be around. When that runs out, one of two things is going to happen. She's going to use you up for what you got, and she's going to use your wealth, hence all of those verses on that. Or it's eventually going to go south, and you're going to see the crazy come out. Or you're going to perhaps have a kid by her, and then a lifelong extraction of like energy, and both on the kid and her front. Let's just say that's practical. Okay, there's another thing here on top of the stress of your body degrading with dealing with all of that, and you mourn at last when your flesh and your body are consumed, and say, How I've hated instruction. Now I want to look at this because I don't want to give the wrong word here, but that leaps out to me, and it's kind of like, look, you'll pay a physical price if you're with a woman that, I mean, I guess this goes both ways, right, lady? If you're with somebody that's extremely promiscuous, there's a much higher likelihood, it's not a guarantee, there's a much higher likelihood that you're going to contract some kind of disease, of various degrees of permanency. It's not good. Some of those are extremely not good. Where I am, would you believe syphilis is going around? Syphilis. They're freaking billboards about get tested for syphilis. And then once you get it, it's kind of like, oh, sorry, you got syphilis. Your brain's going to get holes in it and you're going to rot. What? I digress. That's on top of the HIV/AIDS epidemic, which we also deal with locally. And then you've got things like, warts, herpes, just bad stuff, right? And no condemnation in Jesus Christ. However, not something that I think anybody would choose, right? We don't want these things. Practical advice, Proverbs 5:11. And then 18 through 20, marital advice. You know what I mean? Like, find the love for your wife. She's the other half of your body. It's easy to love yourself, right? Take care of her. Make sure she's in good health. Health, mental health, fed well, clothed well, loved well. And then, it's just like a garden. You'll see, you can starve a plant out. Sorry, always watching who's watching me. You can overwater it. You can do lots of things, right? Let's just say you can properly care for something or not. And if you properly care for it, it will grow. If it's a plant, ideally it'll blossom, bloom. So I think a lot of this is that. And we're biologically predisposed to things, and it's easy to look at younger women because in the fitness sense, they're more fit, right? They're more able to bear children. There's just less baggage, less psychological baggage, less problems. So as men, we're looking at that value judgment. However, that's the flesh. The spirit in us should be looking for the woman that is a worthy woman, that praises God, has the fear of the Lord. Proverbs 31, boss lady. And I want to say something further on that. It's not, Proverbs 31, it's not just like the woman should be doing all these things and the man can do whatever. Traditionally, men and women were a team. So what you're seeing in Proverbs 31 is a successful household, managed well, on top of whatever the gentleman's doing. And that's back in Old Testament. You want to go to New Testament about traditional gender roles, things like that, the trad wife thing going. Priscilla and Aquila, right? Making nets together, working together. Just going to throw it out there. Situations are specific as far as like employment, work, what happens. However, overall, the man's called to be the head of the house, set the pace, set the tone, show people what it's like to treat each other and treat them accordingly. I might be preaching. I'm preaching to myself here. So, all right. That was the return of the fifth. You know what I mean? So I guess this is a return of the fifth. Now it's the sixth. Let me do the sixth. My lovely wife is texting me. Let me assure her that I'll be on my way shortly. Be blessed. Love your people. Set an example.